Hola, buen dia. It's me, Peppermint. And when I'm not on RuPaul's Drag Race or simply being New York City's sweetest diva, I'm tuned into the fabulously empowering Bayard Rustin Center for Social Justice Power Hour, coming to you every weeknight at 7 p.m. live from our good old friends at the BRCSJ Virtual HQ via their Facebook page. Tune in tonight.
Need in every community a group of angelic troublemakers.
Social justice, power hour, power hour, power hour. Social justice, power hour, power hour, power hour.
Good evening to our friends on the East Coast. Good afternoon to our friends in the West, and good in between time to our friends in those in between spaces. Welcome, 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 my friends. Welcome to the Social Justice Power Hour. Welcome to the virtual headquarters of the Bayard Rustin Center for Social Justice. My name is Robert Sather-Schreiber. I'm the chief activist here at the center, and your host for this evening, as I have been for the past 17 months now. Almost 400 shows next week. Can't stop, won't stop. Every weeknight since the pandemic started, we've been here with you in virtual community, and you've been with us, and we thank you for it. We are so appreciative of this time, and especially right at this moment, because many of you, most of you know, we have hundreds of viewers each night, and we, again, are so gratitudinous for your company. But for those of you in our local community, know that we have lost our physical space, our headquarters in Princeton, New Jersey. And yesterday was a difficult day. Yesterday we spent the day actually taking the stuff out physically from the center. Wonderful volunteers and friends helping us move over to a storage space, to a space where we can hold our belongings until we find a new space to do our good work of the people. But as someone said, that I thought was a quite beautiful thing, the center, the Bayard Rustin Center for Social Justice, is not a building, but it's all of us. It's our community. So we'll hold on to that in the next few weeks, few months, until we find a new space to gather together. And in the meanwhile, we will be here with you every weeknight on the Social Justice Power Hour, and have friends like Steve Brodner, master illustrator, with us. So we'll bring Steve on in just a moment, and I am personally grateful for this evening specifically, and our community is grateful for gathering together in this way. Thank you again for being here. And to entice you to come back, of course, as I said at the outset, we are here 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific every single weeknight. This is just some of the stuff that's coming up on Thursdays this month. We're doing, again, Throwback Thursdays, bringing back some meaningful moments from the show. Kiesi Lemon, Doonesbury creator Gary Trudeau, Rosie Perez, and Jonathan Igue chopping up about Muhammad Ali in celebration of the documentary that's coming up on HBO in September. We have David Brzezinski with First Friday Folk, as we do every month. We have The Ones Who Don't Say They Love You, but We Love Maurice Carlos Ruffin, coming straight out of New Orleans. Goldenrod, the beautiful collection of new poetry from the beautiful Maggie Smith, will be here to recite some of her beautiful poetry on a beautiful power hour. 9 Nasty Words by the incredible John McWhorter. Adam Gopnik, one of the greatest thinkers of our generation. 1,000 Small Sanities is just the tip of the iceberg of what this man brings to us. Evil Geniuses, The Unmaking of America. Kurt Anderson will be with us on the eve of the release of the publication of this prescient and powerful paperback. Can't Stop, Won't Stop, just like here at the Power Hour, my friends. Jeff Chang will be chopping it up with us. And this book is Feminist, an intersectional primer for next-gen changemaker. Jemiah Wilson This is actually her book day, her publication day, or maybe it was yesterday. I'm losing track. Maybe it was yesterday. Yesterday was her book day. So happy pub day to Jemiah, and we can't wait for her to come and have a meaningful discussion about the book on the Power Hour. All of those things are coming up, but those are just highlights, my friends, of what we're doing here at the Power Hour. And by the way, if you do have a 2,000 or 3,000 square foot building and/or space that you want to donate to a much deserving community activist center, educational enclave, and safe space for our LGBTQI kids, our intersectional families, and all our marginalized folks, do be in touch. We look forward to hearing from you. But until that moment, tonight, my friends, tonight, Steve Brodner is an illustrator, caricaturist, journalist, author, educator, lecturer, and political commentator, and is accepted in the fields of journalism and the graphic arts as an absolute master of the editorial idiom. Featured in too many newspapers, magazines, and online platforms to mention, as well as winning too many awards over his decades-long career mention. What I will mention is that we are incredibly honored that Steve makes a monthly visit to our show, sharing with us his latest inspirational illustrations from the extraordinary Greater Quiet series that he does at The Nation magazine, and you can also find on his Substack. As Steve his own self says, quote, "To me, it's just about showing up every day and telling as much of the truth as I can to get my arms around." And we dig it the most when he puts those arms around our beloved community. So without further ado, my friends, please join me in welcoming one of our absolute favorite guests here in the Power Hour, the hardest working, the hardest drawn man in the illustration business, Mr. Steve Brodner, to our BRCSJ Center for Social Justice Power Hour.
Oh my God, so happy to be here on the Power Hour with you, Robert, and the Rustin Center, and all of us who are supporters and friends of the center, wishing you a safe landing in a better space, in a better place. But how true that we're all together here virtually, and what a big difference that makes.
And it does. And you, my friend,
here for us.
Our journey has always been something that's so inspirational. You know, I think this bears repeating. I know I've said it a few times when you're with us, but I know that we're always gathering new folks with us. So let me be quite explicit. I'm a huge fan of yours personally, politically, professionally. Although our work isn't the same, it is the same. We're both activists. We just do it in different ways. You do it with inky fingers, and I do it with heart in my sleeve and boots in the ground. And again, I know you've corrected me before. There's not much ink on your fingers anymore because it's so much digital. So, but still, it's the same concept. Oh. And I want to thank you for joining us yet again.
These things here, you know, old-fashioned pen and ink, and I'm one of the holdouts. I think there'll always be people who want to work on a piece of paper. Actually, there's a piece of plastic that you can buy to put on your iPad, where most of my students work, that make the iPad feel like paper. Nobody's putting a piece of plastic over a piece of paper to make it feel more like plastic. So we are still feeling the tactile enjoyment of drawing on surfaces. And however that happens, the main thing is to tell the truth. And so that's what I teach. To me, that's important for all of us, you know.
Last month, I'm sorry.
We're in a huge lagoon, and you want to find an island of truth as we swim through the lagoon all the time.
I love that. And I think that's what the Greater Quiet is. But I do want to mention before I forget, there was a moment last month when you were with us that my community cannot stop talking about. And these are not illustrators. Like for me, it was a fanboy moment, and I was like, this is so cool. But so many others picked up on it too. When you pivoted the camera and showed us your art table and all of your tools and how you worked, people just dug that the most. So go back and watch last month's episode, everybody. It's worth it.
I don't have my flexible camera today.
Don't do it again. Don't give it to them for free. Tell them they have to go back and see it from last month.
You have to work for it. I'm sorry, guys.
There you go. Much better. So for those that are just joining us tonight, a quick recap. of what we're doing and what we've been doing is that every month you join us and you share all your illustrations from the Greater Quiet, which first appears in The Nation and then is also on your Substack every day, and people can subscribe to that, and it's free, right? It's totally free. There's no like a hook. There's nothing.
I'm not smart. I'm doing it for its own reasons. It's got its own necessity, its own imperative. I guess it's for my own mental health. I can sleep better at night if I've said something in that space, or I've occupied the space. I mean, it's what you're doing. It's what we all do. Occupy the space with something that's not bullshit. Because, bullshit is really what we are being fed constantly by advertisers, by conspiracy theorists, by people who want to run a trip on you, take your money, take your beliefs away in exchange for cheap stuff. I think we're really in a constant battle against people who want to sell you cheap stuff for all your valuables. And to a certain extent, our valuables are our time and our attention and our care about things. And so if we can be made to care about other things that are not important, then people can profit from that. Like Fox News, for example, which is making a great deal of money by shoveling out conspiracy theories that actually are resulting in the deaths of people who don't think they need to be vaccinated because some joker on Fox News who claims to be a journalist told them that the vaccines don't work. Meanwhile, those people are shuffling off to emergency rooms or on ventilators because they did believe the bullshit. So we are in league in an anti-bullshit campaign. And so if I wake up every day and I'm thinking, well, what is it out there that I can underline by doing a drawing, to emphasize, and it may be something you've heard about or something you haven't, but by just doing a portrait of someone and having the little caption underneath, a little bit of news, it occupies the space with something that's real, something that's not bullshit. So.
And we cannot thank you enough for that. And you've been doing the Greater Quiet since the pandemic started, most every weekday. And again, it's one of those things that, as I said at the outset, inspires me so much and us so much here at the Power Hour, because I see this parallel of there's your illustration for the day, there's our show for the night, and it's such a great bookend to the day, I think, for our community that shares so many strong connections. I think that I've been thinking a lot about you recently, because there seems to be even more difficulty than ever, and we so wanted it to be easier, didn't we? We so thought that, okay, now that there's a new administration, now that there is, we're building toward better, everything's going to be fixed, everything's going to be better with a capital B, but that's not the case. If anything, we're spiraling in the pandemic. We're spiraling politically, culturally, into physical, emotional, and mental violence. And I think about you, and I think, how do you choose your subject matter each day when you wake up and say, okay, this is what I'm drawing about, this is what I'm going to get into, this is what I'm going to make a mess about? It must be difficult for you to choose from the most obvious to the most obscure to what needs our attention that's not getting it, but also something that is so right there but needs to be amplified even further.
It's hard to tell, but I have to keep bringing myself back to remembering what's important. And there are only about 3-4 stories that are important. One is democracy and how we're losing it, that a small minority has devoted years, not since January 6th, but years, to creating a coup, a right-wing coup, so that the power of this country falls into the hands of the wealthy few. And they are using hordes of anguished, confused religious people to promulgate their basically fascist ideas. So we're fighting against a fascist coup in the United States that wants to put Donald Trump back in the presidency and could do that, and end voting in the country as a means of achieving political change, which will then, once that's in place, that'll create great violence in the streets, and then further fascist repression. So this would be a cycle, something to maybe watch out for 2024. We hope not. The other big one is the climate disaster, the climate crisis. It's not global warming. It's not climate change. It is now an international emergency. How could you not do a picture about that every day? But I don't, because there are all these other things that crash in, you know. I want to do a drawing about Cori Bush, who sits night after night on the Capitol steps, sleeping there. She was in her earlier life without a home. And so as the Biden administration let the eviction moratorium pass, she said, hell no. And she got the cameras to shoot her sitting there on the steps in the rain with a blanket. And lo and behold, Biden changed his policy. It may be too late for some evictions because, you know, the signal had gone down, but at least some people will be saved. I want to talk about the increase in COVID and how emergency rooms I did one this morning in Louisiana. There's just no room for anybody anymore. If you have an illness of some other kind, if you have a trauma, an injury sustained in a traffic accident, you may not make it, whereas you might have before, because there are no beds in the hospitals and no trauma centers open for you. So there's a lot to us, but I don't want to draw Andrew Cuomo. I think, you know, like we know the story. We know that he's toast. The legislature, he has no supporters anywhere. No one's liked him his entire career. He's a very unlikable politician. And for me, it would be a waste of time to draw Andrew. Because he's going nowhere. It's not a developing problem. It is a developing problem that in offices people behave like him. But I think women are going to be more empowered now to come forward. So it's a really positive thing.
Yeah, but it is important to bring that to light, because we do have to make sure that we are always vigilant about these things.
Yeah, this is true. That would be a reason to draw Andrew Cuomo. But, you know, a lot of times I just don't want to jump on the news. It's getting a lot of play. As Amy Goodman says, one of my heroes at Democracy Now!, go to the silence. Go to where people are quietly suffering and no cameras and no microphones and no artists and no photographers. No journalists are there. It's just you, if you have the ability to shine a light on that particular issue. So that's sort of what I wanted with this. And sometimes I'm successful.
Oh, stop right now. You know, I can't believe there's one question I haven't asked you in all our time together. You also teach. You teach at School of Visual Arts.
Yeah. Which
is, as I always say, I don't think anybody's alma mater. Everyone has gone there for a couple of years here and there, but I think 3 people in the entirety of its existence have graduated.
Graduated SVA. Well, that's because it used to be a school that was not accredited, and you went there for a short time, and then you transferred to another school that you could graduate from. So you don't look old enough, but back in my day, you went for just a couple of years, and then you went and got your degree someplace else. But it was always a good school. It was always a really good school to learn graphic arts and cartooning and illustration. And
yeah, you know, I appreciate what you said, but I was there for Will Eisner and Harvey Kurtzman, and you know, there were amazing folks who, you know, I got to spend moments with.
Milton Glazer was
Yeah.
taught there for many years, and Robert Weaver taught there, and Jim McMullen.
And now you. So
And
here's my question: when you do your caricature, you call it boot camp, and when you are able to be with these younger folks and inspire them, I am sure to the nth degree. How much does politics play into it? How much are you able to share? How much do you hold back on? Is the classroom a place for you? Do you think is an appropriate place to have those discussions as a teacher?
I've learned that my job is to help them say important things, but things that are important to them. And I like to think that if somebody comes in with a point of view that I disagree with, I'm going to help them do a good illustration. I'm not going to try to turn them into, for example, we have a lot of Chinese students. And I was shocked to find that one of my students, they speak such perfect English. It's amazing. They come from Beijing and then they sound like they're from Queens. Hey, Mr. Brodner, how you doing? Hey. One kid who sounded like he was from Queens came in with an angry cartoon about how Hong Kong is all wrong and the mainland Chinese should be respected, and Hong Kong belonged to them, and that what's wrong with Hong Kong for rioting when the Chinese want to impose draconian laws. And I started to have a conversation with him about it, but I realized here's a boy who grew up without any free press. Where he lived, where he grew up, he wasn't able to look up things and read books. He could now that he was here, but he didn't. And he took the Chinese party line about what they were doing in Hong Kong. And he probably will when they move into Taiwan as well and take civil liberties away from those people. And as they're doing with the Uyghurs. So I can throw my ideas out there, but I'm not going to tell him what to do. I do draw the line on racism, anti-Semitism. Can't do that in my class. Nobody's tried to, but there's some speech that I will not allow just because fascism, racism, oppression of people in a democracy are things that are beyond the pale. That's so it's not anything goes. I'd like it to be anything goes, but I wouldn't go to that place. I haven't had to. So, but otherwise, I'm giving you stories when you take my classes, and I teach online in the fall. You can take me as continuing it also. I do assignments that trigger things that you know about and help you be a writer as well as an artist. And for Caricature Boot Camp, which you mentioned, we just sit and draw our heads off all night long. You should come sometime.
I would like to. I would like to very much.
Do the Zoom and you can come and draw with us, because it's about letting go. It's about not imposing control. It's about putting yourself in a space where unexpected magical things can happen, and they do. I say to them, you have to be available for the angel to come. I want the angel to come, and then work emerges that you never dreamed you could do in your life. If you could just stop all this stuff about all your life being told about what art should be and how you should draw, and you messed it up. If you do enough blind contour drawings, you realize you can't mess anything up. Blind contours, you're not looking at the page, you're looking just at the person, at the model, and then you realize, oh my God, you just did 20 drawings, and most of them are observant and prescient and good. So that's what I do.
Every time you're on the show, above everything else, you make me want to get my fingers inky again and start being at my drawing table. So sometime soon, my friend.
It's the most fun I have is drawing, and then I draw with my students, and that's just as much fun.
So let's start breaking it down. So we're going to start looking at the work. This is the past month, according to Steve Brodner, the Greater Quiet series. All of what we've been talking about will be in the comments section, so you subscribe to the Substack. It costs nothing. It brings you great enjoyment and inspiration to your inbox every weekday, and it supports our wonderful friend Steve, so please do that. And also, go ahead.
Can I mention stevebrodner.substack.com?
It'll be right there for folks, and just click on it as we're talking. It'll be in the comment section, and you won't even have to leave the conversation. You won't miss a second, my friends.
Just get these provocative drawings in your email every morning. And
I love the word provocative, and so you speak it, so shall we see it. Let's begin.
let's go.
This is just about a month ago. We're starting up until, I think, like today.
This is still going on, this protest, and there have been some arrests, but these very vigorous and dedicated protesters are stopping this Enbridge Line 3 tar sands pipeline, and this is a terrible blight on the environment. It's Minnesota, which is a beautiful state, but according to the reports I've read, this pipeline would carry 760,000 barrels of oil a day. Tar sands oil was one of the most destructive and deadly, and if there's a spill, it will kill. But also the amount of waste and pollution that emerges would be the equivalent of 50 new coal mines to be built in that area. So, more power to them. I hope that this continues. If I lived there, I'd be out on the lines also.
And this is one of those stories that is mistaken as a local story, and it's not only national, it's the world. It's how we will and have any chance of surviving.
Yeah, and thank goodness to the angelic troublemakers, as Mr. Rustin said. Here's a celebratory cartoon about the statue of Robert E. Lee in Charlottesville, which was the subject of a neo-Nazi demonstration that was murderous years ago that Donald Trump actually supported. And the time came when the derrick arrived and chained up Bobby Lee and had him hoisted with his horse, Traveler, if I remember from history, and they traveled through the air onto the back of a truck, and that was the end of that statue. Also, Stonewall Jackson came down that same day in the same area. But I love the idea of chains, all those African Americans who endured chains for so many hundreds of years because of people like Robert E. Lee. Now the shoe's on the other foot, sort of. And I saw this photograph of Lee festooned in chains. It was just so nice. So just draw him. And of course, the expression on his face, if you look closely, it's like, ah!
So now I get to be a little wonky every episode with you. I get a little wonky about process. And when do you know how much is the right amount of, for lack of a term, cartooning, caricature, and how much is too much? Is it a natural, intrinsic thing for you at this point, or is it something you still have to consider?
It's this. It's a pencil. You just keep making sketches. You sketch the thing until it's right. And it doesn't fall off your pencil right away. It doesn't happen quickly or naturally. It happens because you're working on it. It's not easy. Illustration, I never used to say this to my students, but illustration is hard. Illustration is actually hard. You have to keep creating more and more iterations, have lots of paper, pencils, or if you're an electronics person, you're a younger person, maybe with a Procreate tool, you do it on your tablet. but you just keep going until you've got it right. You know, this one was done on a Procreate tablet, by the way, but I did the drawing on a piece of paper first, and then I scanned that in, and I went over just to see how I would like it. I liked it a little bit. I wasn't crazy about it, but it worked. It's fine. I got that thick line you see around the looping chain parts, which I like. That you can just get that very easily by just pressing the pen down a little more on the surface. It was fun to do.
I love what you said about you just keep drawing until it's right. I feel like we should have stopped the power hour right now for tonight, because that's perfect advice for anything you do. Just keep drawing until you get it right, and then it's there.
Nothing falls off your pencil. For me, maybe there are others who are geniuses. I'm not a genius. I'm a worker. You know, I'm a hard-working, blue-collar guy, and I work hard at it, and I just keep doing it until I'm happy, until I like it. And I think just about all my colleagues that I know of, and how they work, they're doing the same thing. Either it's pencil or they do it in pen many times. Like my friend Joe Chardello he loves pens, and he just will draw with a pen, and he'll get really warmed up. And then he goes into kind of a Zen place where the piece comes out and it's beautiful. But you don't just fall out of bed and then have the nice things happen. You have to work.
Indeed.
So you see that some of these are cartoons and some of these are portraits. I try to mix it up. So here's our issue of the stealing of the election in advance. So Jim Clyburn, the majority whip from South Carolina in the House, called for a carve-out, which is congressional language for an exception to the way business is done, to try to get the filibuster suspended for the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and for the People Act. And but he sees all around him the flames are rising. While he's doing that, I think on the same day, the delegation of Texas Democrats got on a private plane and escaped the legislature so that they did not have a majority sufficient to pass this onerous anti-voting bill, which Republicans are not ashamed. The Republicans used to be awful, but now they're not ashamed. Trump has enabled them to lose their shame, and that's all you need to do. Once you get caught doing awful things to people, if you feel nothing will happen, in fact, your constituents will like your cruelty, then you're free to just continue to be cruel until you step over certain lines and the jailhouse beckons, which I hope is something that's not too far off.
Yeah, it reminds me, we had Adam Serwer on the show a couple of weeks ago, and Cruelty is the Point, and that's his old treatise, is that Trump has allowed that to be the quiet part out loud now.
Yeah, it used to be cruelty sadism was taboo because you had to pay some kind of price for it. But Trump demonstrated that when you are sadistic and proud and you turn your sadism into some kind of cause, then, shrouded in your own victimhood, that's a very important part of it, that you're the victim and that's why you must kill these other people, then you can get away with almost anything, they think. But we're hoping that the tide turns. Robert, the tide always turns.
No, I am hopeful, my friend.
It always turns. So here's a man who was a Capitol policeman who came forward with his feelings of trauma that he incurred on that day, on January 6th. So he spoke about his continuing price he had to pay for the stupidity and the cruelty of those terrorists, which they were.
And there are two things about this that are so important. One is Republicans actually mocked this testimony, and two, there have been more than a few suicides.
There was one yesterday.
Yeah, and this is it's unbelievable to me. Again, cruelty is not only, it doesn't even seem to be the point anymore. It seems to be the driving force.
Yeah, yeah. It's pornographic, you know. It feels good, in a sense, if you are fighting a war. If you've been told that these people are not your political adversaries, but your actual enemy, that there is no enemy on earth, not from any other country, that is as dangerous to you and as frightening to you and your family as your fellow Americans who are of different color, different religion, then you can be cruel, and that's what happens in a war. They're fighting a war, and we're not yet. And I think they want us to engage in a physical war with them. And those of us who still believe in government I will say, that we still have a strong Union Army. And if they want to challenge the Union Army, it's a little bigger than it was when General Grant was at the head of it. Here's Dr. Michelle Fiscus, Tennessee's top vaccine official, who was fired without explanation. And in Tennessee, Republicans are at war with public health. So it was important to point that out. She's doing her job, and in Tennessee, they're not getting vaccinated, and they are in the hospital.
And I love the fact that she looks so badass. I love the fact that you drew her with this scowl, with this look on her face, and didn't try to soften it. This is who she is, and she's a fighter. You know, and she's not someone that needs our sympathy per se. She needs our fight and our support.
She's a fighter, and she came forward in media, not afraid of anyone. I'm sure she got an awful lot of pushback and threats from these monkeys. But to hell with them, you know, she's great.
Indeed.
Okay, so here's more protest. And regarding voting rights, the chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus, Joyce Beatty, was arrested in the Capitol, somewhere in the Capitol, for just walking through the Capitol, which he had every right to do, to protest what's happening in Texas. So congressmen in the U.S. Congress are in league with the Texas Democrats, and other legislators from around the country are also going to Washington and engaging in demonstrations. This is not over yet, but it's we really can't see yet how it changes because of Mr. Manchin. But you know, hope springs eternal. I have a feeling there's going to be a new bill that is done with Manchin's blessing, and then an arrangement of some kind that enables this to pass the Senate. You know, the Democrats have shown remarkable competence so far in getting the massive infrastructure bill passed. It looks very much like a bipartisan $500 billion or $1 trillion infrastructure bill will pass the Senate. And then on the heels of that, it looks like Democrats are pretty unified on a larger aid package for families and workers and green energy and all kinds of things that we need. It's possible that once that all happens, the accrual of power will enable influence to rise. At least I'm hoping.
From your mouth to the chief organizer's ears, right?
Well, let's hope that everybody keeps pressuring their senators. I do this occasionally. People who are anti-vaxxers who pass away. and they go into the hospital mocking vaccines, coming up with all kinds of stupid things to say. But here's a man who was loved by his children. How many children did he have? Doesn't say.
And here,
I don't know.
they had to bury him on Father's Day.
On Father's Day. And now his wife is saying, I'm a believer. Get the vaccine. God damn it. You know? And they lost this man who they loved very much. Good old Jim Gordon, you know, in his full clown regalia, he was appointed to the 1-6 Commission. This is before Pelosi rejected him. But I thought, I hadn't heard about Pelosi's reaction to McCarthy's nomination of McCarthy, so I assumed it was a done deal. But no, it wasn't a done deal. But this was drawn before Pelosi made her move. Maybe she saw my drawing. I don't know.
Oh, why not? Yeah, I think she probably reads The Nation.
I think she knows her Congress, and she saw the cynicism of what McCarthy had done, and she just took an extra couple of days to lower the hammer. This is the European floods. Germany, parts of Germany and Brussels, Belgium and Holland and other countries saw flooding that they hadn't seen in 100 years or longer. And I just took out my pen and I just started to draw one of the scenes. You know, I didn't do any pencils. I just drew one piece of wood next to another. And I saw that when I finished it, somehow a drawing is maybe a little clearer in terms of how much wreckage there was than a photograph with its colors and everything. Maybe not. Anyway.
No, for sure. I think that you're exactly right. I think that you lose something in the intricacies of a photograph, whereas the lines bring you in.
You really see the shapes of all these little tiny bits. I'm inclined to do this more, to do more pictures of, you know, just environments, floods, forest fires, wildfires. I want to draw Lake Mead. You know, Lake Mead is empty, and that's a big source of water for Western cities. No more water for you. And you see the lake is just like this little, you see the lake is a crater, and there's this little puddle of water on the bottom. Jeff Bezos went blasting off into outer space on a very phallic rocket ship. I just did some research. The average income, the median income for Amazon workers is $29,000. This joyride cost $2.5 million per minute. And in addition, it emitted 200 to 300 tons of carbon dioxide per rider on the ship. So I drew these little burning bills coming down. And he had the audacity to get up and thank the workers, the Amazon workers who make $29,000 for making this wonderful experience possible for him. Well, we hope you had a wonderful time, and we hope you can start to pay some taxes.
I love the Dr. Strangelove vibe of this piece.
Yes, slim pickings.
Yeah. Well done, my friend.
Did memory. Thank you.
We're halfway through the month now. What gets your Brodner sense of tingling? Are you always on the lookout for the environmental climate piece? Are you always on the lookout for the COVID piece that will be? And I feel like your COVID pieces, you try to get more of an emotional context to those so people understand the devastation of the individual victim.
It's anger. It's all based on a certain amount of anger, I think, and this relieves it. This helps me feel better.
And us too.
That's good. Like this one. Too late. she's a doctor who finds people being ventilated for COVID who now suddenly want the vaccine. Oh, okay, I'll get the vaccine now. And she says, too late. And then she has to talk to their families and tell them, I make a prayer for you that you now will take a lesson and you'll get a vaccine. And answer to your question, I get angry when I see people suffering. I don't get angry at the sufferers. I get angry at the system that creates the suffering. And I get angry at people who engage in bullshit. Politicians, media figures, anybody who is hurting other people with bad information. Or just plain out, as you said, cruelty. As Adam Swerwer said, sadism and cruelty. That gets me angry. That's worth a drawing.
Yeah. And I want to get a little wonky again, process just for a moment, is I've watched you do this from the very first piece, and I've watched the growth of how you process it. And one of the things that's interesting to me is the lettering involved. And, originally there was a lot of hand lettering. There was a smattering of computer text, and now it seems like you do almost entirely computer text. And
I'm not uncomfortable throwing a ton of text into this because I think people need to know what the context is, and they need to know the quote and who the people are. And I'd be there all night and it would be sloppy. It'd be hard to read if I actually tried to do something like this. So I'm shameless now, and I just set it in type.
No. I think it's great that if you don't mind me saying so, I've seen you grow more comfortable with the process and wrap the text around the work and become so much more natural to the piece.
Yeah. It makes it sort of a non-cartoon. It makes it sort of like an article, an illustrated article, which is really how I see these.
Well, you're an art journalist, right?
Yeah, whatever. I'm an old bald guy who lives in New York.
All right.
That's the category that I think most people would give me. Here's a kind of a cartoon. Trump's PAC collected $75 million this year, but so far the group has not put money into pushing for the 2020 ballot reviews, which he touts, but rather he has used the money for himself, his travel and his expenses. You have to be a really special kind of sucker to send money to Donald Trump. That you feel in the first place you elected him because you thought he was one of the richest men in the world, which he's not. And then he's asking you for money, and you're too uninformed to know that he's not using it for the purposes that he says he will. And you're too uninformed to know that he did that with Trump University and Trump steaks and Trump knives and Trump everything. That the word Trump doesn't stand for statesmanship or financial success, but for grifting. He is a chiseler and a low-life scammer. And if you are sending money to Donald Trump, you are a mark. You are his mark. And have a nice day.
Well said, my friend. Well said.
Here's that day when the officers testified before the new 1-6 commission. And what a powerful group of honest truth tellers. Senator Sergeant Aquilino Gonell. I'm still recovering from those hugs and kisses, which Trump says 1-6 is all about. If that was hugs and kisses, then we should all go to his house and do the same thing to him. I thought that was brilliant.
What I love about this piece is you, instead of showing the anger of what the sentiment professes, I feel like you see him holding back tears, like you see the pain.
Yeah, that fist. He was holding himself together with a clenched fist, it seemed.
And that's why your work is so powerful. And I know you're not comfortable when I say these things, but this is what it is right here, folks.
If it works, if it's working, I'm so thrilled. I want to. It's very nice to hear that, Robert. It makes a difference to feel that something that I suspect works really does work for you. If it works for you, it works for others.
Yeah, in the hands of a lesser artist, a lesser illustrator, a lesser communicator, that would be an obvious fist anger. And with you, the fist becomes this wonderful bit of letting in of who this person was and the pain that they were suffering at the time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sorry,
we skipped over Biden, but
there's Biden right there.
I don't draw Biden too much. But I was impressed with the tremendous progress on the infrastructure bill. Infrastructure is bigger than the Great Society, potentially, depending on how big it is when it's passed. Bigger than the New Deal, I think. And this man that Republicans like to make up stories about, that because he stutters, that means he's incompetent or senile. This senile old man is doing something that Obama couldn't do, Bush, Clinton, first Bush, Reagan. Well, Reagan wouldn't want to do it. It actually reverses Reaganism. It is a throwback to very effective Democratic presidents, and it's very impressive. And it needed a cartoon. It needed a drawing to just express that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because this infrastructure thing, it is, definitely FDR-esque in its scope. And I'm actually really looking forward to talking to Adam Gopnik next week about this, because I'm sure he's going to have some really interesting things to share about his perspective on it. So it's a wonderful thing that we're seeing, and this is, again, the pensive nature of him on the phone just, is such a great encapsulation of what he's doing.
Thank you. Governor Ivey of Alabama, who, pretty conservative politician from a very conservative state, and she just popped off about the unvaccinated one day. And I was pretty surprised to hear that. But only 39.6% of the residents of Alabama are vaccinated. If conservative politicians can just say, we were wrong about this, you must have vaccines, even if they actually have a mandate where you cannot go to school, you cannot go on a plane, you cannot go shopping, you can't do other things unless you have a proof of vaccine, or you have a proof that you've been tested regularly. Then this can be mitigated. We can have an effect on this. So that may be happening, actually.
Oh, gosh, I hope. Gosh, there's so many things you say that I hope will happen.
Gray wolves were removed from the endangered species list by Trump. And instead of doing a controlled culling in places like Wisconsin, it has touched off a killing spree, unnecessary killing. Wolves being killed that not only remove from the environment an important predator to take down the sick and the elderly of deer and other animals, but also it leaves their puppies to die. Pups are abandoned by their parents who've been hunted, their mother's been hunted, and it is cruelty. And that's the point with animals as well, not just people, and the sick and the poor and the elderly, but it's great fun for sadistic people to be sadistic without any consequences under what Trump has shown them, who's the sadist in chief.
And I want to say this, this is one of my favorite pieces of the month. Such a strong illustration in of itself, but also brings back, I was a school teacher myself for almost 25 years, an art teacher in middle school. And I remember we did a project 20 some odd years ago where we, all the kids' illustrations, we sent off to the higher ups about helicopter hunting of the wolves and how inhumane that was. And it's sad how these things are cyclic, they come back. So we have to keep raising our voices and showing folks these important pieces.
Yeah, if you put it on the table, then it'll be in someone's mind. And if it's in someone's mind, then it has a better chance of remaining there. This is a powerful revelation that came out just the other day, where we found out how vigorous Trump was in trying to effect a coup. So he called his acting attorney general and his acting attorney general, acting deputy, to come in and tell them to lie for him and say the election was corrupt and leave the rest to me. Because the unspoken part of that is a large part of the American people need is just an assertion, no proof, just say something. Same thing he wanted from the Ukraine. The Ukrainian president should just say something about Hunter Biden. Just say the word Hunter Biden. And then we can take it from there, meaning Fox News can go to dinner on that for weeks and do what they did to Hillary Clinton's emails, turn it into a thing. Without evidence, they don't need evidence. Trump would not need evidence if the attorney general said, I think there's some funny business going. What is the funny business with this election? Instead, those people told the truth. And now Republican laws across the country are getting passed that will remove such people and put political hacks in their place to actually follow these kinds of orders. We are in big trouble, and this is an example of how it can happen. Didn't happen this time, but it was a real coup attempt, and all the people involved need to be brought to justice. It is not legal to stage a political coup in the United States. And I'll bet Justice Department knows that.
One would hope. But holy shit, do I just want to talk about this illustration for a second? This smoking gun as a phone.
Telephone.
That we have this illustration of Trump and you know how many hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of caricatures and illustrations of Trump have so many folks done, you yourself done, but this is something, again, totally new, and finding a way to show something in a different way that allows us to see it through a different lens. So thank you again for that.
I'm glad you liked it. Thank you, Robert. Willie Nelson, just drawn without pencil. Just draw some wrinkles and see if you can turn it into Willie Nelson. He attended a voting rights rally in Austin, which was a big one. It's an ongoing process where celebrities and activists are gathered there, and also in Washington, D.C. There's going to be a lot going on. I understand April 28th is a big rally in Washington. Some organizers are working hard on that.
August?
I believe August 28th.
Right.
Please look it up. It may have been changed since the last time I heard that.
We'll check it out, and we'll try to put something in the comment section about it as well. I love the picture of him and Reverend Barber, too. That was fantastic, seeing them on stage together.
I love that Reverend Barber. Yeah. I think he's fantastic.
Good stuff, good stuff. And this is our final piece of this month.
This is today's
piece.
Catherine O'Neill, Dr. Catherine O'Neill, Chief Medical Officer of Lake Regional Medical Center, Baton Rouge. When you come inside our walls, it's quite obvious to you that these are the darkest days of the pandemic. We're no longer giving adequate care to patients. I have seen people with motorcycle accidents and farming accidents in the last 2 weeks in the ERs in these small towns, those small towns. These are my people. Those are your family members. And when they get maimed today, they are not coming to trauma center because there are no more beds. So everything has an effect all the way down the line because people get the feeling that they don't want a vaccine, then maybe their own family will have a member that cannot be treated for something else. get vaccinated, everybody. And that's the message, one of the messages I keep driving home all the time. And we should all be doing that in all our social media. As I said before, it's not just an artist who can do this. We can all do this. The memes are very popular now. Just use your space, speaking, talking to people on the phone, using social media to bring up the things that are important. And if we all do that, that makes a huge difference. It keeps things on the table. And collectively, that could make a revolution, I think.
That's our message tonight. That's our greater quiet for tonight. That's our power hour for tonight. Keep things on the table.
Yeah.
That's our message. Keep things on the table. We have to keep driving things home and in the office and on the streets and in the supermarket and wherever we can make a difference. And yes, tools of the devil, social media, wherever you can have a voice, whether you have 3 friends, 5 followers, 500, 5,000, or whatever it may be, by speaking up and out and speaking your truth and making sure you amplify others, you can make literally a world of difference.
If you say a true thing that somebody likes and wants to share it, that thing will be shared by people you don't know about. People will not put your name on it, but they'll send it out there. You don't know how many millions of people are sharing your tweet that you put out there. So, it's good to enjoy entertainments and the Olympics are fun. Although they did bring up interesting topics, Simone Biles and the issue of mental health. But it's important to get back to the main things. And the news is what's affecting someone else today that's going to be affecting you tomorrow. So read the news, find out what's happening. I don't have to tell our gang here, but I say this to my kids. It's all about what's coming tomorrow for you. So you might as well find out about it right now.
I love that. Thank you, my friend. So please do look at the comments section. You can subscribe to Steve's Substack. You can see The Greater Quiet each weekday in your inbox. And it won't ruin the power hour for you next month. It'll just bring more depth to it. So then you can have Steve come here and share insights about what you saw over the past month. We thank you for this time. It's so meaningful to us as a community and to me personally, my friend. And I wish you the best. And I look forward to I always am hesitant to say goodnight because it means I have to wait a month to see you. But I'll see you, as they say, in the funny papers.
I'll see you in September.
Yeah.
Remember that? Anyway, I just want to thank you. This kind of support and attention helps keep this going. I do this for my own mental health, but when I hear back from my friends who tell me that they're appreciating it, that really makes all the difference. So thank you, Robert. It's always a pleasure to be with you. See you next month.
Good luck, my friend. See you soon.
You too. Bye.
So my friends, as Steve Brodner, who does a Greater Quiet in the Nation magazine each and every weekday, and also subscribes to his Substack, which is right there in the comment section. Come on, it doesn't cost you anything. It supports our wonderful friend, and it's a great, 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 great way to start your day in your already inundated inbox, we know, but this is a bright light of hope and sometimes despair, because sometimes we need that too. But it's a voice that we need amplified. So thank you all for being with us, for amplifying voices together, for being in virtual community. As I said, we are here each and every weeknight, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So please be here with us too. We are here for you. So be here with us. Until soon, much love and respect, y'all. Be good to each other. Be good to your families, chosen or otherwise. And most importantly, my friends, please be good to yourselves. You need it. And we need you here with us.
We need in every community a group of angelic troublemakers.